Hey guys, we are doing a BuzzFeed Unsolved reaction to a missing kid.
This week on BuzzFeed Unsolved, we look into the
Is he
disappearance
murdered or
of Walter
legally
Collins,
adopted? Who
a
knows?
90-year-old case about a
Oh, this
9-year-old
was not
boy
getting
who
solved anytime
vanished on his
soon.
way to the movies.
Not the time you want to vanish. You want to vanish on your way back from the movies after having seen a lovely film.
You'll come to see that there are lots of twists and turns to this case. It's a hard one to pin down. So
Well, let's pin it.
it's gonna get weird, so let's strap in.
On March 10th, 1928, 9-year-old Walter Collins donned a lumber jacket, brown corduroy trousers, black Oxfords, a gray cap, and set off to see a movie in the Mount Washington neighborhood of Los Angeles. Walter never returned home. His mother, Christine Collins, a telephone operator, reported her son missing
That's
5
not
days
this
later on
anymore.
March 15th.
Well, immediately there are some red flags here.
How busy was that
We're gonna
woman?
do the math. And the math involves me hearing you say the words 5 days later. and
Yeah,
you
that is
saying,
true.
5?
Yeah, that is true.
That's a bit of a difference. It is 1928. I don't know if people
Just wander off.
maybe.
I mean, you strike me as a kid who wandered off. Maybe
I was a
didn't come back
wanderer,
at
bit of a
curfew.
wanderer, but I always reported back by,
The certain time.
10 p.m. or so.
Yeah.
It was a cul-de-sac. Where were we gonna go?
Also, they'd find you rather quick, too. Be on the lookout for a big head boy.
Big head boy, that's what they called me. My parents, yes.
Big head boy.
At that time, the city was still reeling from the kidnapping and gruesome murder of a 12-year-old girl, Marion Parker, that had happened only 3 months earlier.
Damn.
Tips of alleged Walter sightings started coming in from as far away as San Francisco and Oakland. In one bizarre tip, someone claimed they saw the boy at a Glendale gas station, his
Glendale?
body wrapped in newspaper with only his head visible. Police searched for
That
months,
is weird.
but still no Walter. Finally, in August, Illinois police picked up a runaway
Oh, this
boy
thing
who
already was
matched Walter's
kidnapping.
description. The child told authorities he was Walter Collins and gave authorities a, quote, hazy story about his abduction, end quote. He spoke to Christine over the phone, and Christine paid $70 to bring her son back to Los Angeles.
gonna be like
For
another
the next 3
changeling
weeks,
thing?
the boy stayed with Christine until she realized this boy was not her son.
Oh, it's gonna be a fucking changeling
See?
thing.
Okay, well now I'm
Like that
on to
fucking
something.
movie.
Because it took this lady 3 weeks to realize that this boy, who probably,
Oh, okay, all right, I'm gonna cut you off right there.
he's 9 years old, that's a full person.
Yeah, but here's
And she's like, well, I'm pretty sure he's my boy. Well, he's got the same haircut, he wears the same clothes.
yeah, but you gotta add in the grief factor. This mom
Yeah.
thinks she lost her son, and she is now hoping for any sign of good news, and they say, this is your boy, he says he's your boy. You're gonna naturally want to believe it. But after a while, you gotta face the facts. That's not her son. You're right, he's 9 years old. He clearly has defining features at that point.
So is the idea here that maybe this was just some down on his luck boy who'd read the paper and thought, well, here's a meal ticket. I look kind of like this boy, maybe a little bit like him. I'll tell him I'm this boy.
Well, I guess we'll have to find out.
Okay,
Yeah.
detective brain.
Christine found it suspicious that the boy was 1 inch shorter than Walter.
Oh, yeah,
and she
sus.
used dental records to prove that this was a different kid.
Oh,
Christine
man.
told police, quote, yes, he looks like Walter, and in some ways he acts like my son, but still, I'm not certain about it. You see, Walter was quiet and well behaved. He always called me mother. This child calls me ma, and at times he is hard to handle. I certainly hope he is my son, but somehow I can't bring myself to believe it. End quote.
I love this new Walter. I'm a big fan of him.
Oh, like he...
Waltzing into the place like he owns it.
Yeah.
Hey, Ma, why don't you make me some apple pies, huh?
Ma, PB&J, now. I asked you 5 minutes ago. What's up?
The police, fixated on closing the case because
yeah.
of public pressure,
This
insisted
is gonna be
it was
fucking
Walter.
changeling.
They
They put her in
conducted
an
a
asylum.
series of tests to prove the boy was Walter. They had the boy find his way back home from memory and brought in Walter's pet dog, who allegedly recognized the boy as its owner. Still, Christine was not convinced.
I mean, dogs are dumb.
I love how she was like, look at his dental records. It's not him. And they're like, hey, does this doggy recognize you?
Also, puppies just like little boys. Puppies are always like, ooh, it's a little man.
And
Let
that
me
dog
wag
knew
my
him for like
dumb
3
tail and
weeks.
Lick him.
Allegedly, LAPD Captain J.J. Jones told Christine, quote, what are you trying to do? Make fools out of us all? Are you trying to shirk your duty as a mother and have the state provide for your son? You're the most
No.
cruel-hearted woman I've ever known.
You're the most
You
cruel-hearted woman,
are a
you
fool."
asshole.
End quote.
Bit harsh from Triple J there.
From J.J. Jones.
From comic book character J.J. Jones.
J.J. Jones does sound like the name given to a bad cop, like a
Yeah.
comically bad cop. Like
Yeah.
if he was a character in a movie, I would say this man's a caricature. No one's that evil.
Why is he calling this woman a fool?
He called
Yeah.
her cruel-hearted too.
Yeah.
He also he made it all about him. This woman
Yeah.
is missing her kid, and he was like, "What are you trying to do? Make me look like a fool and incompetent at my job?" And she's like, "No, I'm just trying to find my son."
Yeah, this is very rude of him.
The police
Yeah,
then had
extremely rude.
Christine forcibly committed to the
Oh,
Los
man,
Angeles
yeah,
County
this is
General
Jane
Hospital
Clean.
Psychiatric Ward on
Movie
September
one.
8th. While Christine sat in the psych ward, J.J. Jones again spoke to the boy police had picked up in Illinois. During that discussion, the 12-year-old confirmed to J.J. Jones that he was not Walter Collins, but
Oh,
instead
fuck.
Arthur Hutchins.
Well, J.J. Jones, it looks like you've got egg on your face.
A rotten one.
Do you think when the kid said, "Yeah, that's not me," was he like, "Man, I really thought that was you," or do you think he was like, he's like, "Shut the hell on, kid. What are you doing?"
At that point, yeah, because now he's a fool.
He made
Yeah,
himself a
Fool
fool.
is him now.
He has now realized the folly of his ways. I kind of love when
Does
someone
he?
gets a good dose of karma. You get their instant karma, their comeuppance. But yeah, this guy definitely deserved it. He put her in a psych ward because she
Yeah.
wouldn't agree with him about who her son was.
Christine had been correct the entire time. The kid the police had dumped on her was not her missing son, but instead Arthur Hutchins. After Arthur's mother died, the boy ran away from his father and stepmother. He was hitchhiking around the U.S. when in a DeKalb, Illinois cafe, someone told him he resembled a missing boy from Los Angeles. When he was picked up, juvenile authorities were skeptical about his story, but police were so desperate to close the Collins case that they insisted on its veracity. As for why Arthur lied, the 12-year-old told authorities he wanted to go to Hollywood to meet cowboy actor Tom Mix.
I love this boy.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong. You can't indict this boy
Yeah, I
for
think
being
Westerns were
opportunist.
starting to
Like,
get popular
Well,
back
yeah,
then.
that's what I'm saying. This is a beautiful story for him. I
Yeah,
really
it was
love this
50s.
kid's moxie because he's sitting in some
50s and
rundown
60s
cafe
are when
in
they
the
were
middle of the
popular.
cornfields. Someone walks in and says,
No, wait, it was Broadway musicals that were popular in the 50s, then westerns in the 60s, I think. Or there might have been overlap.
"Hey, you look like this missing kid." And he goes, "Is that so?
where's he from?
From Hollywood, you say? Get the cops in here." Cops come in. He's like, "Yeah, I'm that boy." Send him out to L.A. He's going to meet his favorite cowboy person, but they're like, "Well, first you have to go hang out with this crying woman for a while."
That's probably why he was so grumpy.
Of course.
Because he was like, "I just want to meet Tom."
Yeah.
You got this wailing
It's like,
woman
"Can we
there."
please go to the movies?"
Christine was released from the psych ward on September 13th and sued the LAPD.
Yeah, she better
Captain
fucking
J.J.
won.
Jones was suspended from
Ha!
duty by the LAPD, though he was later reinstated
Oh, come on.
and ordered to pay Christine
Yay.
$10,800 for the abuse he suffered under his custody. However, J.J. Jones never
Bitch.
paid.
Unbelievable. I mean, believable, but
$10,800 is actually quite a bit for that
Yeah,
time.
might have been like a
what the
million back
inflation
then.
cost would be
I
there.
mean, it's definitely not cheap.
No.
And not a big shocker that JJ didn't pony up the dough.
Hold on, I'm gonna Google that. That would be like $198,818.53. Oh man, the US dollar back then is worth like $20 today. This is kind of an interesting website.
proud of her for suing him.
Yeah, dude's a freaking set of clown shoes. He deserves it.
It seems like, there's a lot of, this is America, people press charges, people sue a lot.
But apparently the LAPD took that very seriously by reinstating him and not making him pay
Yeah.
the amount that he
Well, we
owed.
don't
You
need
should
to
have
get
made
into
him.
the practices of the LAPD.
We do not. And as we all know, we do know that you believe they are corrupt from past episodes.
That's true.
Yeah.
I do believe it.
A lot of places are corrupt.
Meanwhile, the real Walter Collins was still missing. So with
Yeah,
that,
he's
let's
definitely
get into
dead
some
by now.
theories. Our first theory was put forth by Walter's father, Walter J.S. Collins, who was serving time in Folsom Prison on robbery charges at the time. The elder Walter worked at the prison cafeteria, and his responsibilities included reporting the violations of other
so
inmates.
revenge.
Because of this, he could have made many enemies, which is why he believed his former fellow inmates may have kidnapped Walter for revenge.
All right, I guess that is a theory.
That is a theory. Not my leading theory, but it is a theory.
You wouldn't just like knock him on the head or something? A guy writes you up for like taking too many mashed potatoes and you're like, I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna disappear his boy once we're out of here.
I don't think they have like, the
sadistic.
foresight to plan that out. You get angry in prison, it's happening right there and then. You're not going to be
Yeah.
like, I could.
That's
but
what I'm
gonna
saying.
wait. I'm going to wait.
You'll execute your revenge quite swiftly.
Exactly. You're going to take like a fork and stab him right
It's the
there.
cafeteria. It's the only place where there's weapons on hand.
The second
Yeah.
theory, one with substantial weight behind it, is that Walter was kidnapped by a pathological liar named Gordon Stewart Northcott
That's not good.
and murdered on Northcott's chicken
Oh,
farm.
yeah, I heard about that
Days
theory.
after Christine was released from the psychiatric hospital and approximately 40 miles east of downtown Los Angeles, immigration officers were closing in on a 3-acre chicken farm in Wineville, California. They'd received
must
a
make
tip
a lot of
about
money
an
there.
illegal worker who had been smuggled across the American border with Canada. The chicken farm belonged to Gordon Stewart Northcott. After he convinced his father to buy him the land in 1926, Gordon claimed he needed help running the farm. He drove to Canada to visit his sister Winifred in Saskatoon. He talked Winifred into letting him take her 14-year-old
Oh,
son,
he killed
Sanford
him.
Clark, with him to the farm.
Chicken farms really scare me.
Why is that?
I think it may be sort of a Texas chainsaw vibe. Any sort
yeah,
of
yeah,
like
yeah.
super rural area where there's one
Yeah.
guy and a lot of animals.
There's some crazy stuff happening in that farm.
Probably smells.
Yeah. Just a fair warning, you're going to want to buckle up for this one because this is not my favorite story.
It gets worse.
There, Gordon began to physically, emotionally, and sexually abuse Sanford. Sanford's story, unfortunately, was only the start of the horrors young men met at the hands of Gordon Northcott. Gordon had a pattern of kidnapping and murdering
fuck
boys,
you, serial
then
killer.
dissolving their bodies in quicklime. In August 1928, Sanford's 19-year-old sister, Jessie Clark, came to visit her brother on the
She's gonna
farm.
find the bodies.
Sanford told her everything
Oh,
that
he
had
told her.
happened. Jessie alerted their mother, and they contacted the
shit.
American consul, telling them that Gordon had smuggled Sanford from Canada. When investigators got to the chicken farm, Gordon, along with his obsessive mother, Sarah Louise Northcott, had fled.
So this is just a serial killer
Yeah.
who may have been involved in all this.
May have
Yeah.
been involved, and we're going to get into
Definitely a serial killer.
He is a serial
Yeah,
killer,
very
I would
serial
say,
killer.
and we're going to get into how he was maybe involved.
Okay.
Police found blood-soaked ground and bodily remains around the
Oh,
ranch,
man.
and Sanford was safely
Are they taking
taken
him to the
into police
chickens?
custody. Items belonging to missing young boys from Southern California were found about the property,
Fucking
including
hell.
Boy Scout badges, library books, and letters written to their parents. Nelson and Louis Winslow, 10 and 12-year-old brothers missing from Pomona, as well as a Mexican
been to
boy named
Pomona.
Elvin Gothea, were among those victims whose possessions or remains were found. On September 15th, Sanford told investigators his story. Police showed him 30 photos, hoping to identify other victims who met their fate on the farm. One that Sanford positively identified was Walter Collins.
Damn. Fuck.
So,
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you would forget that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And there's
I know.
no reason for him to lie.
No reason for him to lie. It's just, I guess I don't know how many people he'd come into contact with there.
While he was there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, pretty damning, though, I would say.
Yeah, not great.
No.
Gordon and his mother were arrested in Calgary, Canada on September 20th and extradited back to the United States to stand trial. Gordon initially confessed to the murder of 9 young boys, but was only charged for the deaths of 3.
Bullshit.
There wasn't enough evidence for him to be charged in the death of Walter Collins,
That fucking
but
sucks.
Gordon was nevertheless sentenced to death by hanging and
Yeah,
was
he deserved
executed
that.
on October 2nd, 1930. Though Gordon wasn't convicted for Walter Collins' murder, his mother spent the rest of her life in prison after confessing to having killed Walter with an axe and burying him in a chicken coop.
Yeah.
The notoriety from the gruesome murders was so bad, the town of Wineville decided to separate itself from that chapter of its history when in 1930 it renamed itself Mira Loma.
You ever been?
No, I haven't been to Mira Loma, but if I had,
No, you're a Southern
before
California
this,
guy.
before this story, I would now be a little unnerved.
Well, they changed the name.
But just the idea that something so bad happened in the town that it changed its name.
Bad things happen in every town, I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's true.
We live in Los Angeles.
I'm sure there's dozens and dozens of bad things happening every day in Los Angeles. It's a dark town sometimes.
It's one of those things. No, we don't.
Yeah.
As he awaited execution, Gordon sent Christine a telegram saying he would tell the truth about Walter if she came to talk to him in prison. Christine went to San Quentin on the eve of Gordon's
Oh, he
execution,
didn't say
but Gordon
shit.
backpedaled, saying, quote, "I don't want to see you. I don't know anything about it. I'm innocent."
Oh,
End
you
quote.
gotta fucking slap
Gordon
him.
also left several notes in his cell, some saying he'd never met Walter, some accusing Gordon's father of kidnapping and murdering the boy. A pathological liar, it's impossible to know what Gordon said was true and what was fabricated.
Fuck.
It's weird that this case is unsolved because it seems pretty cut and dry, but he wasn't convicted for the murder. He's saying that he didn't do it, but then his mom is saying that she did it.
He confessed to 9 other ones, though?
In some of the letters in his cell, he said that he didn't even know the boy. It goes back to that deathbed confession thing where he knows he's about to be executed. Why not just come clean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in a weird,
Yeah, I mean, he's already taken the rap for...
yeah, so might as well just come clean. But, you know, we're trying to, you know, dissect the mind of somebody who is clearly capable of very, very evil acts. So I don't really know if there's much merit to that. But this is, I guess, technically still unsolved because he wasn't convicted for the murder, and he's saying that he didn't do it, when I think it's safe to say that he did.
Well, we'll never know.
5 years after Gordon was put to death, one of the young men thought to have been murdered on the chicken farm turned up alive and
my
well,
God.
opening up the possibility that Walter too had escaped a fatal encounter in Wineville on that chicken farm. For the rest of her life, Christine Collins never gave up hope that her son was alive, while Walter's most likely fate was at the demented hands of Gordon Northcott and his mother.
shit.
What actually happened to the young boy remains unsolved.
Whatever happened to him, he's fucking dead by now.
Yeah, that was a long, windy, uncomfortable road to get to the conclusion there, but trust me when I say that I tried to make that as palatable as I could because I would not recommend looking up this man's history because he is far more of a monster than he presented here.
Well, I will take you up on that recommendation and
Yeah, don't look
avoid
it
it entirely.
Yes, I would do the same.
It's been a treat here today. Thank you for inviting me on another spooky little tale.
Yeah, let's go home, take a shower, I'll call my mom.
You call your mom in the shower? Hey, ending on a funny joke. Okay, see you next week.
It was a beautiful
Yeah.
sentiment, and you ruined it.
Yeah, well, I will see you guys in the next one. And I will. There's like an Angelina Jolie movie or something where they did that, like, that movie. I mean, this story is like called The Changeling. It had Angelina Jolie in it. I'll link the Wikipedia page down below.